Welcome to Michael Cole Facebook Live 193. We're in search of awesome, still hanging out in Facebook Galaxy. My guest tonight is Renee Dube. She is a Gen X, as you can see on the front end of 40 something, got a couple of decades of business under her belt. She's busy reinventing her career, blowing up her income. She is a social digital Jedi. Works at Bella Trio in Durham, North Carolina. Salon owner, of course, is Emily Richardson and her mate Terry. Summit coach Mike Carter. I think they're all on tonight watching, what's going on. So let me tell you why I invited Renee. First of all, on the front end of 40 something. So she is Gen X and so she's one of the Gen X that has reinvented, and you can see what happened as she did in 17 to 18. If you look at that, that's darn near double her income from 58 to 90. Cracked the $100,000 mark in 2019. I think her and I were chatting last week, and I said, "So what do you think?" She said, "If things go right, I'm going to shoot for 120, 125 this year. Just stay tuned and let's see what happens." She works 4 days behind the chair, no nights, because she's got her schedule down. Average day is $900. Her average ticket is $100. Haircut price is just under 60. Look at these referrals, you guys. Gen X, 40 something with 12 referrals a month. That's just the side of 150 referrals a year. She's going to talk about how she's doing that on social. Rebooking up just under 75%. Still in the retail game at 22%. So she's kicking it big time. She has got one heck of a story to tell. I'm not going to get into it and steal any of her thunder, but you can see by her timeline, she graduates high school in 96, does some time in the service, U.S. Navy, and honorably discharged in front end of the new millennium in '04. She graduates from college, so she's got that under her belt. Decides she's going to pivot, and 2019 goes to hair school. Starts as an assistant at Bella Trio in 11. So she's cooking right along in at 17 at 58. Something happens to it, blows up her income in 18, repeats the performance in 19. And like I said, her educator goal is 125. So if you're not following her on social, you're going to want to do that. Her handle on Instagram is Renee Hair Artist, and on Facebook it's Styles by Renee. Uses an A+, has just under a couple of thousand followers on Instagram, 80 guests following her currently, and the overwhelming majority of her referrals, as you will see, come from that. So she's in the green room. We're going to bring her out, get her talking about her story. You got to listen to her story. I mean, you talk about a turnaround and extraordinary perseverance and persistence and discipline. And then while she's here, I said, you have to share some of your best kept secrets. So let's go back there now, see if she's back there, say a little prayer, and see what she has to say. There she is. Give it up for you guys, would you please? How are you?
Good.
Did you hear me bragging on you?
Yes.
There's a lot of good stuff to say to you, my friend. Thank you very much for coming on tonight. I've really been looking forward to the conversation with you.
Well, I'm honored to be here. Truly, you have no idea.
It's a privilege to have you on. Well, listen, Renee, we always love to get started with the story, because the story is what gives us vision and inspires us. And you've told me your story, and I was profoundly moved by it. You've been on just an extraordinary ride. Who are you? What were you doing? And how did you end up in this place that you're at now?
Well, in '07, I got divorced, and I struggled to find myself. And along the way, a hairstylist actually changed my life, because she made me feel the prettiest I've ever felt in my entire life, probably. And I was like, I'm going to do that. I want to make people feel pretty like this. I want to change lives and just make people feel good. for a long time. And so maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, I was in hair school after that. And just from there, I've just totally reinvented myself of who I am. I worked in the corporate world before it. It wasn't exactly happiness, but it was a paycheck. It paid the bills. My kids were very young when I started at Bella Trio, but they tagged along and took one for the team. And so now it's all in Bella Trio.
So you were well into life, and you
Yes.
at some point you decided, because of this definable moment with this person, as you said, that made you feel pretty, made you feel beautiful. It touched your soul. You decide this is what you want to do. But where were you in the 20s and doing that? Like, how long were you in corporate before you said, you know what, I'm gonna, it's one of those, take a few steps back in hopes to taking a lot of steps forward. How old were you at that point?
Well, I always worked in the corporate world.
Yes.
So like from when I got out of the Navy at 21 and I went to school, and I worked in the corporate world when I was in college. So yes. I just continued through I was 29 when I went to hair school.
Yeah. So did you get much blowback from your family? It's like, at 29, yeah. It's like, what, you're going to do what?
No, my mom, and my mom's probably watching this, so forgive me, mother, but she was not a fan or supportive of me going to hair school because she questioned how I would feed my kids.
Yeah. How's she feeling about that now, by the way?
Well, all her beautiful hair, I'm sure she's proud of me. She's proud of me, and she was proud of my choice to work with Bella Trio. When I went to her and I said, look, I can afford everything except childcare if I go take this hourly assistant rate at Bella Trio. And she looked at me and she said, do you really think this is going to make a career for you? And I said, yes. And she said, do you think this assistant program is exactly what you need? And I said, it is exactly what I want, Mom. I've done the research, I've been in the corporate world, so I know how to research a future. And I said, this is what I need. This is what I want. I'm going to do this. This is awesome. And she's like, okay. So she watched my kids for me while at the time, it wasn't an associate, it was an intern, but same kind of setup. I worked, I learned, and I tried to cling on to everything I could from.
So she's watching this tonight. I'm assuming she knows what I know. She knows how well you're doing. So it all paid off. This is like, vindication and exoneration on steroids. So what an extraordinary story. So what's it like now? You've been in Bella for a few years, and people know how you're crushing it. How has this changed your lifestyle, your standard of living? How has this influenced you, changed you as a person?
Well, 4 years ago, I lived in a 900 square foot 2-bedroom house or apartment. And now I'm in a totally upper scale area where I live in a 3-bedroom townhouse, but it's double the square footage. So I have and my kids are at the school I want them to go to and everything like that. Wow. And I solely support my household on my own, 100% on my own. My kids want for nothing. They're teenagers, so nothing's cheap, but everything is for them. Everything I do.
Yeah, and there's a community within this community that really, single parents, and they're identifying with this. So to really hear your story, see a vision and say, look, yeah, I leveled up, and I am not the person I was, and this continues to change your life. And it sounds like you're just getting warmed up.
Yes, I'm on a roll. Well, I want to be. My son has taught me TikTok, so that's next.
So yeah, you beat me to the punch. Where do you see yourself going in the next year or so?
Um, well, in the next year or so, I'm going to move into a bigger house. I need a garage and a bonus room. Like I said, I have teenagers, and there's no reason I can't afford myself that, because I work hard for it. And so,
I love it. Now, so if you, if there's a whole bunch of people watching this tonight and they're resonating big time, there's going to be a lot more that are going to be watching this over the next few weeks or so. They're in a place you used to be. They're seeing where you are that they'd love to be. You're giving them a vision, but they don't. Perhaps they're a little bit shy on whatever you want to call that: self-confidence, self-esteem, self-worth. Fear. What might you say to them to go, look, you can do this, take your shot?
I would say just like bite the bullet and go for it. My original bullet biting was actually to stick my tongue out at my boss, to tell her that she was wrong and I was right, that old school passing out cards was the way to go, that nothing could ever replace that. And I truly, if you don't embrace your coaching sessions with your owner or your coach, I thrive off my coaching sessions. But 10 minutes of every coaching session consisted of, you need to do social. And then that was like, social doesn't work. And I felt like that was my coaching being wasted. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to show her and prove to her that it's not. So if you're not using Instagram or anything, I would say definitely do it, but bite the bullet and post a selfie that you have no makeup on. And then once you get the likes from it, your confidence builds from that.
I love it. I love it. Well, while I have you on, you're doing some amazing thing. I actually have your Instagram page pulled up. I think you got 2 or 3 keys that you're doing that are real interesting. And the first key is you talk about how you create tutorials, and these tutorials that you're showing are helping you to build a following. Talk about what that is and how you're doing it.
So I'm doing tutorials, and truthfully, I am literally just setting up my phone on a stand while I get ready in the morning for work, and I save it. And I had clients multiple times asking me to show them how to do curls. And then I showed them in the chair, and they're like, if you could just post a video or email me a video of you doing it, I think I could follow that. And then I remembered I taught my sister via like pictures back and forth, because it was before FaceTime and all that kind of stuff, how to curl her hair for a ball she was going to. And so I was like, well, I can totally do this with the tutorials. So I posted a couple, got like 400 and something views. And even though a lot of people aren't liking and commenting on them, so I was starting to like downslide from it. But every time one of my clients would be like, I'm following your tutorials, I'm getting so good, or they'd come in and their hair would look great, and I'm like, oh, your hair looks great, I followed your tutorial, is what they would say. So my goal last year was to post 3 times every quarter or something, but it just got easier because I just started doing my makeup before I did my hair, and literally I just recorded myself getting ready for the day, which we all do anyway. So it's kind of multitasking at the same time.
Yeah, and as I'm kind of giving the viewer a kind of a digital and online field trip on your page. I'm kind of crawling your grids, and when you say you're doing do-it-yourself tutorials, like your different ways that you're putting your own look together, and that's a big part of your brand. And you're saying when your clients see it, they love it, and that it's what's attracting other followers that are becoming referrals as well. Am I getting that right?
Yes.
I mean, how many of these tutorials? I mean, I'm like literally crawling your page, and it's tutorial after tutorial after tutorial.
And that one right there, I was getting ready for church. So literally have a stand on your mirror and just record yourself getting ready, because we all get ready every day.
And you're saying my guests love it. It's
Yes.
finding, and sometimes my guests will share it on their page, and their followers see it, and their followers become my referrals. I've done quite a few interviews, but I've really never really have had somebody on like you that are saying, "Look, I'm doing, making my own tutorials, but I'm showing my followers how I put my own look together, and it's working for me." I mean, you're doing
Yeah.
like 12 referrals a month.
Yes. And I can't even get all my referrals into my book, or I'm out of their price range. And so it's awesome to be one of my graduated associates, because then I pass those down the line.
And I'm on one of your highlights. It's your first highlight, and you do just an amazing job. You got a little bit of a tutorial there, but you're demonstrating product that you retail. What's that like? How is that different than what I'm looking at on your grid?
So those are, I try to do real life. Like when I go to the gym, I don't wash my hair every day, and little things that we use for our own products. And it's kind of showing that to my clients that I have those products at home, because it's in my bathroom and I use them. And so obviously if they're, you know, I, I'm going to invest in my hair also. And so then they trust me more knowing that I use them personally. But then I can also teach them tricks that they don't really know.
Yeah, I mean your highlight library is extraordinary. You have the best of the best. You've got a nice highlight on before after. You got a balayage highlight. You got product highlight, and then on your grids, it's more of the same. It really is. It's not almost. It looks like your Instagram page, both highlights, IGTV. Your grids are a your own personal learning channel on teaching your guest how to be beautiful.
Yes. And that's my whole goal in everything, because I can't tell you how many times people are like, "Oh, I can never fix my hair like that." And then they try it at home, and then they come in and they're like, "I need your curling iron because mine doesn't work like yours." And I'm like, "Well, mine's longer, da 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 da." And then it helps me justify why I use what I use. So tutorials have helped me get followers, helped boost the confidence of my clients, because the confidence is higher when they see it on a tutorial,
Yeah.
because they're like, "Oh, you can do it on yourself. That means I can do it on myself."
And
And
I'm seeing the patterns of your grid. You have you did a photo shoot, and you
yes,
have some quotes in your pictures. That's why I want the people that are watching tonight, that'll be watching this, to get on your page. But I asked you, like, how'd you put that together? And you had an interesting way that I won't take your thunder, but
yeah.
how did that come to pass?
So I traded with a photographer, because that's in our realm. So like, use what we have. I traded with her and got a 30-minute photo shoot. She gave me all my photos. I took my shears. I have like a good amount of pictures to work with, and change them up. But, and I do give her credit on a lot of my photos, because you give credit where credit's due.
Oh yeah, and you've got some really great engagement because you have a pose of you and then a nice quote. Now you've got quite a bit people making comments. How do you follow up on either a like or a follower, that to kind of find out who is this person that's engaging, and do they qualify for a client? Are you doing any of that kind of work where you kind
Well,
of find people that way?
the great thing about Instagram is you get to pick and choose who you want your clients to be, basically. You get to stalk their profile and be like, "Yes, I want to get my hands on that hair." And then you follow them. And I do engage with everybody that likes and comments on my photos. If they like my photo, I try to go, if they're a business, I try to find a way to share their business on my stories or something like that, because if we all scratch each other's back, then it kind of goes full circle. But they'll remember me when they get their hair done, because no matter what their business is, unless it's hair, they're gonna need their hair done. And so I do look at where they're from to see how much engagement I do. I'll look at people that follow them. Like, you really have to spend some time in Instagram. You can't just open it and wait for people to follow you, but I do engage with them. I comment on them. I like to see their cute pictures of their puppies and stuff, and their kids walking for the first time. And they think it's super cool that I comment and notice that. And then when they come in for an appointment, I'm like, oh my God, I saw your son. He's so adorable, or anything like that. So
right. Well, it's apparent, Renee. First of all, you're not a millennial. You're not a zennial. You're a Gen X, and you've become. I see you're skillful at highlights. You're skillful at stories. You're skillful in your grids. You're skillful in tutorials. And I'm assuming that the overwhelming majority of that is you just continuing to engage in the Instagram platform and all of the features that come with Instagram. That by and large, this is just what you've developed, how you've developed yourself so far.
yeah.
And then, like, how long have you really been, let's say, a student of Instagram, where now you're kind of at a level where you've taken your skill set on Instagram to a whole new level? Has it been a year, 2 years, 3 years? What's that been like?
A whole new level would have probably been 6 to 7 months ago. I would have taken to a whole new level. I started Instagram, and about 2.5 years ago, started diligently about it. I needed an income increase, and Emily was like, you got to get on IG.
Right.
And so that was 2017 that I went.
How many hours a week would you, if you had to guess, that you would say I've devoted to my Instagram platform and all that goes with it? Because there's your hours as a very busy service provider, but you are investing time and energy in branding yourself on Instagram. Are we talking two?
I don't spend less than an hour on Instagram a day, but that's compiled time. So I take short breaks. So I spend 15 minutes after I go to the gym in the morning to post the morning post that I created the night before. So probably the most of the time I spend engaging, commenting, liking, and creating my stuff for the next day is I spend about 45 minutes at night, or I spend about 2 hours on a Sunday and create for the whole week.
And then, last but not least, I want to ask you about Over, the design, the app that you have. Are you using that for editing? Like, how's that app serve you?
I don't edit any of my hair pictures at all, ever. I watermark my stuff. Once you find one of your hair pictures on somebody else's page, you will watermark your stuff forever.
Got it. So you're using that app to really brand and watermark your signature, so people aren't stealing your work off the internet.
But I'm branding my quotes. I'm branding everything. So all those, like the thing on my page where it has a circle with my picture on it, yes. that was a image I created in Over. I create stories in Over. I create my 20 for 20 cards in Over that are my digital ones that I send to new followers.
What about this? Do you use Over for something like that?
Yes.
So it sounds like any kind of graphic design, Over is your app of choice.
Yes. I pay $17 a month for it, but that's just because I don't want to use the free version. I want access to everything that not everybody has.
Nice.
And so I feel like $17 a month, if I get one new client a month from having a pretty page, then I've paid for my $17.
I love it. Well, listen, we're actually running over. I rarely run over, but this conversation was so interesting. I really wanted the tutorial part, so I appreciate your sharing. I want you to promise me that you'll come back for an encore.
Absolutely.
I just have a feel. I'm curious to see how close you're going to come to crushing 125. All right.
Fingers crossed.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, and we're going to give it up for you one more time, and then I'm going to let you go. See you later.
Yeah.
You guys, I would give it up for her one more time, would you please? What I really got from her is I just, the story to me is how she is, first of all, a Gen Xer that really is kind of traditionally rooted and said, no, I really want I want to level up my social media skills, but specifically Instagram. So she's, if you need to follow her and just study her grids, because you're going to find that she has many, many tutorials, and they're simply genius. She's actually has her mobile in front, and she's, through video, she's actually turning it into, she's got her own little learning channel, not only for her guests, but for the followers, the people that follow her guests, that turn into referrals, because many of her guests are sharing that on their page, and that's why she's doing 150 referrals a year. So she's consistent in it, and she continues to take it to the next level. So I think it was an extraordinary interview. Listen, if you're joining us for the first time, you're watching, this is the Michael Cole Summit page on Facebook. We do Facebook Lives. Tonight was our 192nd and 93rd episode. We actually did a double header. So if you didn't watch the first one, take advantage of that. We also have a Michael Cole Summit page on Instagram, and all of the interviews are cooked down into micro learnings. And if you go to Michael Cole Summit to the IGTV, you'll see 4, 5, 6 minute micro learning versions of tonight. Like tonight's interview was probably 25 minutes. We'll cook that baby down into 5 or 6 minutes to give you the highlights. So, and again, all of this is sponsored, so it's like public TV. So I really want to encourage you to hang on to that. The other is getonSummitSalon.com. I would be picking up, we just did an interview with the Social Digital Planner as well as the Social Digital Script Guide. These have become our resources to help people like you to get through the trial and error part of the learning curve quicker, so they can blow up their income. All of these are recorded live and shown on Summit's YouTube page, so take advantage of that as well. We've got a 365, it's called SummitSalon365.com, where some of our more production value video courses are now being offered on that for an annual subscription fee. To check that out. We are moving Summit Salon Business Center into online training and digital coaching, online coaching and mentoring. You can, whether you're a salon spa owner, you can get access to social media consulting online, social media virtual coaching. You can call us for a 1-hour complimentary consultation at our 800 line, and one of our coaches would be more than happy to tell you about it. So take advantage of that as well. We have many, many digital tools on SummitSalon.com, mobile calculators that set goals for all of the Summit service providers behind the chair, mobile trackers so people can measure what they treasure. And we have all of that, and every time I do a show, I always like to wear a branded, call it a tattoo. There's a .com now, MC Tattoo. So if you like something that I'm wearing, you can pick it up. And it's a nonprofit for me. It's just a way of helping to support some of the philanthropic communities that I serve, with literacy for elementary children, recovery for alcohol and drug addiction. So there's a number of communities that it touches my soul. So stuff like this just helps me to make a difference. So please check it out to see if you like something. I always like to end the program with gratitude for our sponsor, L'Oreal Professional Product Division. These are L'Oreal's brand, Baxter of California, Matrix, Biolage, Mazzani. Paul Pride is our latest, our greatest, Essie, Kerastase, Purology, L'Oreal Professional, Redken, and Shoe. So support those brands, because when you do that, that shows our sponsor that you're part of the community, and it allows us, their sponsorship allows us to bring you content that we couldn't do under normal circumstances. So on behalf of Summit Salon Business Center, it's been a great program, and I'll see you all next week.